There he is. That's Abel Sanchez leading him out. Abel's got quite a busy schedule. He's going to be here tonight. He's got the show in Russia next week, and then he has to go the following week to New Zealand for the Joseph Parker Ruiz fight, that big Dugo fight down in New Zealand for the WBO Heavyweight Championship of the World. Bob Arum will be down there. By the way, we want to mention this is Bob Arum's 2000th promotion. What a career this man has had. Konstantin Ponomarev wearing the flag of the Russian Federation. And now the music changes. Silverio Ortiz makes his way into the Mexican music. I don't need to tell you that. This kid turned pro in March of 2000 with a TKO win over Manuel Montero. He's had that up and down career. He comes from a boxing family. His dad was a fighter back in the 40s and 50s, and his brother's also a fighter. Silverio Ortiz, decked out in the red and black.
He's fought in Mexico most of his career, 34 fights there, but he's had 13 in the United States. Also fought in Canada, Germany, Philippines. He's one of those road warriors who never was afraid to go into the other guy's backyard.
Okay, Lupe Contreras is standing by, so let's get this fight underway. Here's Lupe.
Ladies and gentlemen, we continue with the action here at the Chelsea at the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas. Once again, proudly presented to you by Hall of Fame boxing promoter Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated, along with La Cerveza Tecate, born bold and being broadcast worldwide on TopRank.com. This is our co-featured bout of the evening, set for a distance of 8 rounds in the welterweight division. The judges in charge of scoring are Tim Cheatham, Dave Moretti, and Ricardo Ocasio. At the sound of the bell, the man in charge, referee Kenny Bayless. Introducing first, the fighter standing in the blue corner. He steps in wearing red, blue, and silver, and he weighed in at an official 148 1/2 pounds. He enters the ring an undefeated professional with 30 victories, 13 of those victories coming by way of KO. The reigning NABF welterweight champion from Mieres, Russia, Konstantin Ponomarev. Across the ring in the red corner, wearing maroon with black and white trim, he weighed in at an identical 148 1/2 pounds. In 53 bouts as a pro, he maintains a record of 35 victories against 18 losses, 17 of his victories coming by way of KO. Representing Chicxulub, Yucatan, Mexico, Silverio El Chamaco Ortiz.
Referee Kenny Bayless calls the combatants in. 10-point must scoring system. No standing 8 count. No 3 knockdown rule. Fighter must get up following a low blow, or he may be counted out. In case of an accidental foul, we'll explain to you as the rule becomes pertinent.
Good luck to both of you. Touch them up.
All right, so we're set to go here. This is scheduled for 8 rounds. Konstantin Ponomarev and his charger Abel Sanchez, who's got a real busy schedule coming up for the next 3 weeks. He's got this kid. Ponomarev is a terrific fighter against Silverio Ortiz, who can surprise you. Ortiz is just one of those very, very tough Mexican fighters.
Well, it really helps him to be a part of that Abel Sanchez family, a part of the Triple G team. And he joined him after several fights in his pro career, so it wasn't from the beginning, but Abel only makes fighters better. There's no doubt about that.
Well, Abel, I think this is 3rd or 4th fight with this kid, and he's shown really some good improvement since Abel picked him up. Sitting down on his punches, getting a little bit more power to his shots.
Yeah, he's coming out here right away with less movement than I suspected. In fact, the style of the fight is not what I suspected coming in. I thought we'd see Ortiz moving forward.
That's what I thought too, Rich. I thought he'd get real aggressive real early against Ponomarev.
Ponomarev, if you look at it, is all he's flat-footed here, which is unusual. He gets around that ring pretty good.
Getting that jab through, though. He's getting it on the nose of Ortiz here in the first round. Ortiz goes with that looping overhand right. Nothing there for him.
Well, I think if you're not blessed with great power, what you do want to have is a real strong jab if you're going to be a boxer, which Ponomarev is. And it looks to me like he's shooting his left jab out with more authority.
Yeah, and the reason for that is he's really getting off the back foot when he throws his jab. And then you see him turn his hip into his right hand when he throws the right hand. All right. Nice quick movement outside. And Leo Kolinsky works with him as well. Ben Lira, and of course you mentioned Abel Sanchez. Done such a great job with all of these Eastern European fighters.
And he is more than just beginning to get noticed. He's in the top 5 rankings now in a couple of the major sanctioning organizations.
Yeah, we got him 5 in the IBF, Rich, and he's moving right up there in the WBC and WBO as well.
He comes from Miasс, which is an automotive town, which he said is kind of similar, smaller, but similar to Detroit. And tough area.
I thought it was really unique that he talked about how the gym was like his babysitter, right? Because both of his parents were working and busy, and the gym is kind of what kept him busy and out of trouble. And he fell in love with boxing right away.
Get that baby face.
Yeah. Some of these guys, you'd see him on the street and you'd have no idea how vicious they really are, because they just looks like he could be a student or something, and maybe a student of boxing, if you will.
Well, he is a student of boxing, that's for sure. Panomarev, with a few seconds left in this first round, has got 1 in the books. Across the way, Silverio Ortiz. He's got Edgar Sable and Ron Kern working with him. And is Abel Sanchez with Konstantin.
I think I overheard Abel telling him to keep it short, keep it a little more tight, right in this area. You're a little too wide. I'd like you to tighten up your positioning, which I think is a sign language right there with what I was hearing.
Yeah, that's another thing. You know, Abel has got to communicate with these Russian fighters,
right.
And Abel speaks Spanish and English, of course, but communicating with the Russian fighters, he uses always a Russian guy in the corner with his fighters, and they're able to communicate very, very well. Here we go, round number 2. This is scheduled for 8. The Colonel Bob Sheridan here, along with Rich Murata and Christina Poncher. You're watching Top Rank Boxing worldwide, and some of you are still getting it streaming on TopRank.com around the world. And we're glad that all of you can be with us for the fights tonight. And of course, the big one coming up, Vasily Lomachenko and Nicholas Walters for the WBO Super Lightweight Championship of the World.
Ponomarev looks to be fighting under more control than what I've seen him in the past. His stance, he's always had that wide stance, but he seems more balanced to me now, and his arms are not spread so wide apart. He would be kind of reckless defensively.
Rich, that's a great pickup, because he does have the wide stance, but he is balanced, and you see his back foot, the way it's turned sideways. He's really getting the drive off of that for his jab, and when he turns his hip into it, he's getting more power with his right hand as well. So his jab more successful, although he's sparring right now. But when he decides that he wants to throw the jab as a punch, he drives off the back foot. That time he goes with the right hand lead. Blasts him to the body downstairs. Right back with the right hand is Ortiz. Decent shot by Ortiz there. Ortiz is one of these guys who can make you look bad. Very experienced Mexican fighter.
Yeah, Ortiz has seen most styles possible in the ring, but he's using these first couple of rounds to try to figure out really how to deal with Ponomarev, who has all of the physical advantages over him.
We're talking height. We're talking reach. Blasts the body twice. He makes Ortiz miss over the head.
And I think the only thing with Ortiz's blatant advantage is just his experience. We spoke on it earlier. He's been in the ring with some world champions in Humberto Soto, Marcos Maidana. David Diaz, Stephen Forbes, although he's been on the losing end of most of those fights, that experience, it can help you in tough situations, and that's something that, you know, Konstantin Ponomarev hasn't been in too much in his career with his unblemished record.
Well, I'm going to go back to that term that you used, Rich, in the last fight, the gatekeeper. I really like that term. And this is the type of gatekeeper that Ponomarev has got to get through. A guy 35, 18, solid Mexican professional fighter, tough. Oh, nice, really good right hand that time cut Ortiz.
I think he gave one back to the body of Ponomarev, too. So Abel Sanchez spoke to him in the locker room right before the fight. He said, we're not taking this fight lightly at all. And I mean, every trainer is going to say that, but they know the type of quality of fights that Ortiz has been in, and they know this will be a tough test for Ponomarev.
Well, Abel to get so many fighters, and he treats them all slightly different. He's a cool customer in the corners, but he knows how to juice a guy up when it's necessary, too, in the closing seconds here of round number 2. But this is another good round for Konstantin Ponomarev. All right, the bell ends it, and they're still swinging as the bell sounds, ending round number 2. That's another Ponomarev round. By the way, my scoring's unofficial. The official judges are Tim Cheatham, Dave Moretti, and Richard Ocasio, all Nevada judges.
Ponomarev with throwing punches with better intentions than I've seen him in the past. Less arm punching, what you would call arm punches. In other words, they're coming now more in a more stinging fashion, carrying a little bit of power, a little bit of authority with him, especially that jab.
But you know, Rich, I think the slight adjustment, we mentioned how he's got the wide stance, but that slight adjustment of turning the back foot kind of perpendicular, and he's getting much more drive off when he decides. Sometimes he uses his jab as a positioning movement, other times he uses it as a punch. See the way that foot is, right, perpendicular almost to the front foot, and he's really getting nice drive off that and getting his jab up in there, and it's allowing him to turn his hip and get his right hand with more power. I think just a slight little technical things that a guy like Abel Sanchez sees has made a difference in what I've seen in Ponomarev since I first saw him fight, and I really like what I'm seeing.
Step back.
Mexican fighters are so slick. They always grab that far arm from the referee. Kenny Bayless not fooled by it at all. See him going for that arm?
He did manage to land kind of a windmill white hand in the early seconds of this round.
Well, that's what Ortiz is going to have to do. He's got to, like I say, throw his ears back and just let it fly.
And he throws that shot so wide, that looping shot, that right hand. He kind of just puts his head down and wins it out there.
But, you know, Christina, I don't know. I think that's about all he can do against Ponomarev, because Ponomarev is nice and tight. He's controlled with his jab, whether he decides to use it as a positioning weapon to unleash his right hand, or he's going to come with his right hand. And again, don't forget, he's got the 2 inches in reach advantage, and of course the 4 inches in height, which are all a big advantage for Ponomarev over Ortiz, and he's trying to use those advantages. Nice sneaky right uppercut inside there.
And he can land more of those shots with the way that Ortiz comes in when he throws the punches. He just got to time that correctly.
He's not KOing guys such as he did early in his career. Those last 4 fights have all been by decision victories, but the guys that he's beaten lately have been much better than the guys that obviously that he was facing. We talked about that Brad Solomon fight, the Zuski fight. They were both 26-0. He fought a guy just about a year ago named Steve Claggett that we were at, and to me, his development that he's showing tonight in basically less than a year is really pretty astonishing.
Oh, I think so too. I agree with you 100%.
Kudos to Abel for that, and it is his work rate. You know, you talk about not getting that one punch knockout power, but he just outworks these guys.
Well, he just caught Ortiz with a nice uppercut that almost took Ortiz to his knee.
Right, it was nearly a knockdown. His knee did a big dip and was a couple of inches off the canvas.
In fact, if Ponomarev had realized that he hurt him so much and stepped back, he probably would have gone down on that knee. Now you watch Ortiz try to pick it up a pace himself because he knows he was hurt. Closing seconds now. This is the 3rd round of this Schedule 8 round affair in the welterweight division. Both guys in slightly over 147. They came in at 148.5. That's another round in my book for Pономарев. I'm just outboxing this guy right now, which is all he has to do. I expected Ortiz, as you said, as we look at Ortiz, to come out much faster than he has. And we've got a couple of Ortiz shots. I mean, he's in the fight.
Yeah, he did have a few moments in that third. There's that windmill kind of overhand right that we referred to that he landed in the early seconds of the fight. And then later on in the round, again, the overhand right. Pономarев, though, dominated the round. What I like there was digging to the body as well. You know, guys like this that have this kind of height and reach, and they can stand back and jab and et cetera, control a fight at mid-ring, sometimes forget about the body punching aspect, but he did land that good left hook to the body.
A real good left hook. And Christina, that you were talking about the wide shots of Ortiz, and you're right. But again, I think that's all he can really try and do with this guy. I don't know what else he can do, because he's not going to outbox Pономarев, that's for sure. This is round number 4. The Colonel Bob Sheridan along here, Rich Murata, Christina Poncha, the newlywed. Which means hands off for you, Rich.
Never.
Pономарев decked out in the colors of his flag. That, of course, is the flag of the Russian Federation. Red, white, and blue. He has silver going down his side, representing the white. Pономarев now beginning to land some punches here.
Good combination punches there. Working off the jab, something Ortiz is not doing at all.
Again, sometimes he throws that jab as a positioning punch. Comes with the uppercut, another uppercut. Right cross.
Overhead.
Hey, he surprised Pономarев with that little right hand. Traveled about 6 inches inside. There was a good, wise little veteran move.
Yeah, and he got his attention for sure. Pономarев hasn't stopped throwing punches, so he lined up in front of him, cracks him with the right hand, left hook. The left hook kind of slid past the whiskers of Ortiz. Ortiz backing off. Now Pономarев picks it up, blasts him to the body, back upstairs, clips him on the ear, slaps him with the right hand, misses with the right hand.
One thing about Ortiz, you know, he obviously does not have a dazzling record, and he's lost to a lot of these really fine champions, world champions. But even in fights like this, he's facing a good problem. He always shows up. He always gives it his all. He's what I call an honest fighter. Guys like that make the boxing world go around. They're never going to be world champion. But, you know, they're in there and they're trying and they're testing younger fighters or even testing world champions.
And guys like that will continue to get fights because they put on an entertaining show. They come to brawl. He's known as a road warrior, as you talked about. So those guys will continue to get fights because they're not shying away from the action, and that's really what boxing fans want to see.
And every once in a while, he'll surprise you like he did up in Montreal when he stopped Hussein. Some nice shots in now by Pономarев. Look at this. These guys are going at it pretty good right now. Back upstairs comes Ortiz.
I love that uppercut by Pономarев.
Pономarев goes southpaw. I don't like that in a guy that's a right-handed fighter because he loses power. He'll miss more punches and he'll get hit more. Now he's back orthodox. Rich, you probably heard me say that 150 times over the years, but I don't like guys who switch when they don't have to.
But he's having his way with him, Colonel, and I think he's feeling very, very comfortable in there.
And I think Ortiz has taken some good, clean shots on the chin, and he hasn't gone down. So we'll see if it can be an accumulation of punches that gets this fight stopped.
All right, coming up next is our main event of the evening as we're in the locker room with Nicholas Walters wearing the trunks of the color of the flag of his native country. He's from Montego Bay in Jamaica, man. And this guy is a very, very good fighter. Now across the way is Vasily Lomachenko, a 2-division world champion. The reigning WBO 130-pound champ. Huge amateur background, over 400 fights. He's 28 years old and he's only been a pro for a couple of years, but he's made the most of it, I'll tell you that. And you're going to see a lot more on Top Rank Boxing of Vasily Lomachenko. We get ready to move to round number 5 in this scheduled 8-round affair. Silverio Ortiz has his work cut out for him. He's going to try and break down Pономарев. Pономарев has outboxed him in every round according to my score sheet.
Silverio Ortiz from Mérida, the Yucatan, Mexico. I love that area. It's a great boxing area, beautiful area as well. His father was a Mexican champion. His brother was a fighter. So this is what he knows. This is what his family knows.
Fighters from Mexico are just, you know, they're tough. You know, Rich, it never ceases to amaze me when I see those kids that take those 30-hour bus rides up from Los Mochis and up to Tijuana to fight for $50 and get on, and they come right back the next week to fight again if they could get a fight. And they're just tough, tough kids, and they want to fight, and they're fighting for food. And this is the background of a guy like Ortiz, who, like you said, he's never going to be a world champion, but he's a very, very tough, hard fighter. And Pономарев is just outboxing him to this point in the fight. This is the 5th round.
Yeah, it's doubtful if Ortiz will have enough to win any round against Pономarев the way the fight is going, unless he just catches lightning in a bottle. But he usually has a moment or two in each round.
He reached out with a nice left jab, and then Pономarев starts putting pressure on him now, banging the body back upstairs. And the punches of Ortiz look almost in slow motion right now. Pономarев taps him on the chin a couple more times, nothing hard. The right hand cracks him in the upper cheek. And people from the area of Mexico where Ortiz is from, the Yucatan, they have the high cheekbones like he has, so when you put the bruise on top of it from that jab that's getting through and those hooks and right hands like that, they swell right up and they look like he's getting beaten to a pulp. A lot of it has to do with just the facial structure of people from that part of Mexico. Barring, and then he cracks him with the right hand. Now the jab means something. Comes with the left hook. Uppercut. Timed the uppercut. Caught him with that. Pономарев is doing pretty much whatever he wants.
Maybe Ortiz a little bit tired, too, leaning up against the ropes a lot late in this round, maybe looking to counter, but that's not really his forte, is to just sit back and wait to counterpunch. He needs to keep his hands moving.
Yeah, he used to be a much more aggressive fighter if you look at those tapes from previous years. But he's 33 years old, and he's fought nearly 50 fights against the best available. A lot of wars.
Put another one, the 5th round in the bank for Pономарев. Watch this, Rich, now with Pономarев backing him up.
Ortiz spent much of this round with his back to the ropes and in the corners. Now just trying basically here to defend himself. Pономarев is looking to sharpshoot him. You can almost see he's looking to see where he can pinpoint his punches.
And there is a lot of accuracy with Pономarев punches to begin with. He's a pretty accurate puncher, except for that one time when he switched around to a southpaw and he got inaccurate in a hurry. So here we go. This is round number 6. It's scheduled for 8. Konstantin Ponomarev decked out in the blue with the red and silver. And in the red and black trunks is Silverio Ortiz. Ortiz had a rough night against this guy. Nobody has been down. Nobody has been really shaken in the fight. Pономарев has landed ever so many more punches than has Ortiz. Therefore, I have him winning every round in the fight. Again, this is round 6. I'm the Colonel Bob Sheridan with Rich Marotta and Christina Pancha. Hope you're enjoying it. Whether you're watching us streaming on TopRank.com or you've got us on the international feed around the world.
You know, I don't see Pономarев getting impatient. I don't see him losing his cool in there. You know, he's sticking to his game plan. The way he's fighting right now is the way that he came out at the opening bell in round 1 and has been fighting in this exact fashion ever since.
Yeah, we were surprised, as we mentioned, that Ortiz didn't come out faster, especially at the age of 33, and just kind of let it go. but he's here to put on a show. He's a consummate professional. He's in good shape. But he doesn't have the ability of Konstantin Ponomarev, and he doesn't have the size, either height or reach. And Pономарев has been able to take care of both of those things. He cracked him to the body that time. Jab, jab, jab. Right hand usually follows behind it. There it is. Sailed up over the shoulder. That time he caught him with a left hook. Straight left hand again. That time the left hand was coming as a hook, and he got caught in the ropes. I wonder how much that hurts a guy when, you know, he's in that fluidity of motion, and then all of a sudden his arm gets caught up in the ropes.
Yeah, he looked back as if someone held his hand back and shook it out, but he's doing good work, staying consistent, putting the pressure on. We thought Ortiz was going to be the one kind of coming forward the whole time, but you know, Ponomarev has really shown good ring generalship in every round so far.
Yeah, he's just attending to his job, basically, and he's doing what he has to do to win every round convincingly. And you know what, in noticing, we mentioned that Claggett fight from a year ago, a lot less wasted motion in there, a lot less wasted energy by Ponomarev in a fight like this than what he displayed earlier.
And that'll be important. I mean, this fight an 8-rounder, but as he goes 10 and then eventually to 12 rounds, being able to pace himself because he doesn't have that knockout power. It's those work rate where he has a lot of output of punches and eventually breaks his opponents down. But Abel's done such a good job with him in just only less than a handful of fights.
Well, the accuracy of his jab is beginning to show here now as we're in the 6th round. And his uppercut has been good. I didn't realize that. I had to note from the last fight. Oh, solid right hand that time. That uppercut right behind it again. Left hook. Left shot underneath the elbow to the right side of the body in the area of the liver. Jab, jab, jab.
And Ortiz is offering no offense now. He's just trying to defend himself. And what we're seeing here is a very professional performance by Konstantin Ponomarev.
Yeah, and with Ortiz in survival mode, that's another one in the books. But Konstantin, I got him winning every single round.
That round was all Ponomarev. Ortiz was in a defensive mode all the way, survival mode in that round. Beautiful. That was a chopping right hand. He's shown on a couple of occasions something a little different with his rights. That was the chopping. We saw a right uppercut from him from long range. It was very effective at one point. So increasing his arsenal and a variety of punches.
Very little facial change. No emotion from this guy at all. He's a consummate professional. All right, we get ready to move to round number 7. This is scheduled for 8. Welterweight division, Silverio Ortiz and Konstantin Ponomarev. Ponomarev to the right of your screen. That's Ortiz to the left in the black trunks.
The question will be about Ponomarev as he advances, and he's getting toward the top of the ladder now in the division as he faces guys with greater power. Greater power not only than Ortiz, but greater power than he has, whether his arsenal will be enough. And, you know, he's going to have a high volume of punches to overcome the differential in power.
But, you know, Rich, I agree with everything you said, but this is a real test for him because Silverio Ortiz is a tough guy. He's not easy to put away. He's gobbled up everything that he's had. Only one time did he catch him with that uppercut that was hard enough to almost drop him to a knee. And you know, this is a tough, hard victory for him in spite of the fact that he's won every round.
Yeah, this is real good work for him. And two, he is developing a style that is still, I think, evolving as he goes along.
Yeah, that's good. Evolving style for sure. And he has improved in the past year. I mean, we go back to his fight a year or so ago, and the improvement in the past 3 fights with Abel Sanchez is quite remarkable. This kid's a very good fighter. He's a boxer. He's not a boxer puncher. He's a boxer. And that's what you got to work with, and that's what you train him with. He's been busier than Ortiz, which he had to be, and that's what he has to do. He's a guy, 35 victories. You know, he does have 18 losses, but 35 victories, fighting, you know, all over Latin America and plenty in the States as well, even in Canada. Pономарев using that jab, he put out about 3 of them, then he cracked it with the right hand, then came with a very hard uppercut that didn't quite catch him. He's looking to land the uppercut again. Look at that, the body shot. That hurt him. Back upstairs. Hard left hook.
Ortiz fighting back, though. All of a sudden, where did that come from?
Typical Mexican fighter. They get a second win when they get whacked.
The crowd was getting a little anxious for a minute. Come on, come throw punches, throw punches. Finally, he doesn't. He connects some of them, too. So he's got one round to try to make this interesting, but it looks like Ponomarev has boxed his way to a great decision so far.
Closing seconds now. This is the 7th round. It's all Ponomarev. Here he is back as a southpaw. I won't say it, Rich. Some of these people that have been listening to me for 50 years, you know, Dave Bontempo, our buddy that does color with me and you, over the years, he has what he calls colonelisms. And that's one of them.
Well, speaking of southpaws, Vasily Lomachenko coming up next. I cannot wait to see him. All the seats are filled here inside the Chelsea at the Cosmo. It's going to be a great atmosphere. These fans are very anxious for this last round to be over so they can watch what many people think could very well be fight of the year this year, at least a candidate for fight of the year, with Nicholas Walters against Vasily Lomachenko.
Well, there's been great buzz about the fight. There's been a lot of talk about it on the internet, on the boxing websites.
A lot written in the Review Journal about both fighters in the paper today. That's the local paper here in Las Vegas. Konstantin Ponomarev has won every single round on my score sheet. The official judges, Tim Cheatham, Dave Moretti, and Richard Ocasio. So here we go. Ponomarev again in the red, white, and blue trunks. In the black and red is Silverio Ortiz. Ortiz hasn't been able to do much with this guy. Looks like he's got a bit of a second win as he's moving around left to right, right to left. Slides back to his left. Konstantin trying to catch up with him. Cut him off. Dropping jabs on the forehead. Feints. Looking to drive that big uppercut when he gets inside here. I've noticed many more uppercuts from Ponomarev in this fight than previous fights, and it's been very effective for him. He throws them when he gets out on the inside. It can be dangerous, but he hasn't had any repercussions from anything that he's done except positive from the uppercuts. It's been very positive. It's clipped a little bit by the left hand of Ortiz, so there's no quitting Ortiz, and that's what you expect from him. A consummate professional, came in good shape, ready to fight, and nothing has gone his way, particularly tonight.
But he's been in a defensive posture in the last 3 rounds. And once you face a fighter who pretty much goes into that mode, he really becomes difficult to finish off.
You know, Konstantin has cracked him on a couple of occasions in this round. There's the double jab, the right hand, left hook, all landing. That left hand right on the chin. Skips forward, wants to throw the right hand or the uppercut on the inside. Lets the right hand go, doesn't quite catch him. Look at the look on the face of Konstantin now. He said, man, I want to get this guy out of here. Yeah, he's got a different look on his. He hasn't changed facial expression the entire fight. Now it looks like he wants to put this man away. And he's got a minute to do it. 1 minute and 4 seconds, as a matter of fact.
Well, he's a volume puncher, and he's going to have to be, because it seems to me he's a fighter whose victories in the future, as he faces tougher guys, are going to be decision victories. They're going to go the distance.
Well, we don't have the punch stat here, but I can assure you that he's landed about 7 or 8 to 1 punches that Ortiz has landed tonight. It's been all Konstantin Ponomarev. Mexican fighter fighting valiantly through the last 30 seconds of this fight. And Konstantin wants to finish him and finish strong. 20 seconds to go in the fight. Cracks him with a right hand. Closing seconds of the fight now. This should be a war right to the bell. I know these two guys. And it is. Look at him. Winging shots as Ortiz to the bell. But Ponomarev can put this one in his victory book.
Well, Ortiz saved a couple of those right hands until the last 10 seconds. He waves to the fans. And Ortiz came here and he earned his money. Earned his paycheck.
Yes, he did, Rich. I scored it 80-72 in favor of Ponomarev. We'll see how the judges see it. There's no question Ponomarev won the fight.
He is, remember, only 24 years old. Even though this was his 31st fight here tonight.
I know
31st professional bout.
Which is unusual for an Eastern European fighter, because usually they stay amateur longer.
I thought that Ponomarev showed patience in the ring tonight. I thought he came in with his game plan. He executed it. He seems to be a fighter much more under control. Throwing his jab with a little more authority, but I think he still needs to learn. He needs to get stronger, I think, for one, Colonel. I think he needs to just become a stronger person, a stronger fighter, more physical in that ring, and that will serve him well.
All right, again, we had it scored 80-72 in favor of Ponomarev. We'll see how the judges have it. Lupe Contreras is standing by. Let's make it official, Lupe. Here he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, after completing 8 rounds, all 3 judges are in complete agreement, turning in identical scorecards of 80-72. In favor of the winner, by way of unanimous decision, still undefeated, Konstantin Ponomarev.
Konstantin Ponomarev gets it. All 3 judges saw it the same way. You couldn't judge it any other way, Rich. He won every single round. Outboxed him brilliantly. He's got to get a little bit stronger, but he's got to stay at 147. Remember, he weighed in a little over 147, so he's going to stay as a welterweight. Do you think he's strong enough to be able to outbox all the guys at 147?
Well, I don't know. I'd say he's got to